Kali Jaganmata.
Durga Lakshmi Saraswati Kali Jaganmata.
Durga Lakshmi Saraswati Ma Durga Lakshmi Saraswati Ma Durga Lakshmi Saraswati Kali Jaganmata.
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 Kali Jaganmata. Kali Jaganmata.
Kali Jaganmata. Kali Jaganmata.
Kali Jaganmata. Kali Jaganmata.
Kali Jaganmata. Kali Jaganmata.
Durga Lakshmi Saraswati 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 Kali Jaganmata. Durga Lakshmi Saraswati Kali Jaganmata. Bole Shri Saraswati Mata ki Jai. So devotees, this evening I'll take a discourse from the Devi Bhagavad, and it deals with a beautiful incident, a katha I love very much. It deals with an incident of a very illiterate individual, one who received sarap, as we say, from the Holy One. But because of his sacrifices that he made, he became an intellectual. He became a kavi, a poet, enlightened individual. So these kathas are given to us in Devi Bhagavad, and each of these kathas, they give us a special lesson as to how we should proceed with our life journey. As we keep mentioning that these kathas, the scriptures as a matter of fact, is like a spiritual mirror, and whatever is mentioned here should be reflected back to us. So we use the scripture as a justification, as that foundation. And we always mention that last verse of chapter 16 of the Bhagavad Gita. So here, the story begins like this, where the holy ones assembled in Naimisharyan as mentioned, and questions were being asked of various, kathas that were presented. And this particular katha is a Puran katha, very old katha. And the holy ones, Janmejai, Raja Janmejai, Veer Vyasji, and all the others were there. And they listened to beautiful kathas prior to this. But this katha came to the mind of Janmejai. And he wanted to find out of the power of this Devi Ma Saraswati Mata. So what he is mentioning here that, O Brahman, Holy One, you have mentioned, tell us many, many kathas before, but there's a specific katha by this, of this Brahman, who went by the name eventually of Satyavrat, and he was quite illiterate. Quite illiterate, so sarap, as we say, that he was born into this soul but illiterate. But by just reciting that Bij mantra of Saraswati Mata, which is Ain Ain, this is when you say the mantra Om Srim Hrim Saraswati Yai. That's Saraswati Ye, Saraswati A, Saraswati E, Saraswati Yai. But just reciting this Bij mantra, Ain Ain, that he became a great intellectual. Became a great intellectual, a great Pandit. And this is another important word here. We have a Pandit and we have Upurohit. A Pandit is a learned man. Upurohit is a Brahman who performs sacrifices, who also supposed to be learned. So there's a difference. I'm sure that when you listen to cricket, etc., right? We say the cricket Pandits, they do the puja, they commentate. They are the specialists in commentary. The accounting Pandits, the law Pandits. You understand what I'm saying? So the word Pandit, anytime you hear the word Pandit, the only thing about a holy man, think about a qualified individual. One who is qualified in whatever field of endeavor. So here, as mentioned, that by reciting that Ain Ain mantra, that Bij mantra of Saraswati Mata, that illiterate individual became a great enlightened soul. So here Janmejai is saying, oh Maha Rishi, the question is that we would like to find out that who is this Satyavrat? Who is this individual? You know, what country he was born in? What was his nature? Please describe all the details to satisfy, well, he's saying here, my curiosity, but all of us curiosity. And when we hear something that, you know, attracts the mind, we become curious. We want to find out. And this is how katha is supposed to be, you know. Anytime you see, you listen to the katha and you're fed up and you're yawning and your eye closing, well, you have no interest really. You should always be like these holy ones, no matter what. They always, as I say, their appetite was never satiated listening to katha. They always wanted to hear more, always wanted to hear more. So this particular katha, Raja Jadmija is saying that, oh Maharishi, you know, this, I heard of this katha, of the Brahman, you know, who was very illiterate, but he became a great, you know, Pandit, as we say. Tell us about this katha. You know, our curiosity is there, and this is important, as I mentioned. You always have that curiosity to listen to more. Listen to more. As just now, as I mentioned, anytime I see come Baba read that same katha again, oh God, like the only katha you know, you record, stick or what? Then you have no benefit to get. None whatsoever. So here, as mentioned, please describe all the details to us, or to me, so that they satisfy my curiosity. You know, how did he hear that sound of AA? That, you know, belongs to Saraswati Mata. What? It was the course of the recite that mantra, that Maha mantra, that Bij mantra, which is the seed of everything, from being a Murk. How was he able to do such actions? Please explain to us how by doing this, success came to him. That illiterate Brahman, he was transformed instantly. Please explain that to us. And not only that, how that great goddess Saraswati Mata, you know, who is the omniscient mother, she's omnipresent, that one who possesses all qualities, the sole cause of this universe, described to us how she was able to bless him so that he can become such a great individual. The interest, I'm interested, I'm curious to know. Please, let me know. So here, devotees, the katha starts from this point, where the curiosity must be there, that interest must be there, that attention must be there. And this is what Saraswati Mata is, the mother of intellect, mother of, you know, knowledge, as we say. So this alone tells us something, that if you want to learn, you have to listen, you have to pay attention. They say 3/4 of learning comes from listening. 3/4 of learning comes from listening. If you cannot listen, you cannot learn, as we say. A person who cannot listen will never learn. But the curiosity must also be there. That, you know, we all want to hear more. Always want to hear more. Always, you know, I say the appetite is satiated. Hearing the kathas of the divine. That curiosity should always be there to hear more. And devotees, this is a quality that should be developed within us. A quality that we have to uncover from all of us. So we go with the kathas it is. So they said once that they lived in a country by the name of Koshal. A very, very famous Brahman. Very, very famous Brahman. He the one who, in mind, word, and deed, he performed all his duties, his responsibilities. His name was Devdat. But there was one problem. He had no issues, as we say. Not like I have an issue with you, eh? Issues mean no children, no sons in particular. He had no sons, and we all know, just to make it clear, that we all would like to have sons. And like daughters, not good, you know, but the sons are the ones that will carry on the lineage. They say the daughters are very, very important. The daughter marries, and she goes and carry on somebody else's lineage. But from her itself, the family continues. So she also has a very important part in the continuation of the family. As we know, without a mother, there can be no children. Even though nowadays, things different there. You have 2 male, 2 female, and adopting children. But we're talking about normal circumstance. Without the mother, even though she goes on to carry somebody else's lineage, but the point about it, she's responsible for carrying on that lineage. She's responsible for carrying on that lineage. So here, it is said that Brahman Devdat. He had no issue, no son, as we say. And he wanted someone, a son in particular, who will carry on his lineage. And, as I mentioned, when there's no sons in the family, well, everything is based on karma, but the story mentions, when there's no son in the family, that lineage comes on end right there, because there's no continuity. So, but this holy one, this Brahman, wanted a son to carry on the lineage. So what they decided to do is to perform Putreshri Yagya, as prescribed by the scriptures. For the sake of obtaining, he had marked children. But the son we speak about here, to obtain children, obtain a son, because he wants someone to continue his lineage. And putreshti, a special yajna that is arranged like what Raja Dashrath did. Raja Dashrath had one daughter, Shanta, and upon the advice of the holy ones, he did putreshti yajna. Putreshti, that yajna with the desire, with the attitude as such, that desire is only what I can find of having sons. So what he did, devotees, it is said that he, Tamsa Nadi mein, on the bank of the Tamsa river, he prepared a beautiful spot and he erected a tent, like when you have yagya, you know how we prepare for yagya, right? You have your tent or you have your rental tent or whatever, and you prepare the place. So on the Tamsa ke kinare, on the bank of the Tamsa river, it is said he prepared a building, a spot, an open area, shady spot, and he made all preparations. But what is important here? I say Ved Milinge. According to the laws of scriptures, he invited the Brahmins. The Brahmins were versed in this type of yajna. And yajna means sacrifice. There are different types of yajna. We have putreshti yajna. We have, different types of yajna. In this instance here, putreshti yajna. So, he invited the Brahmins from, who were qualified in this field. And all preparations were made. And they began to perform the yajna. Now, just to explain that yajnas of this type, special yajnas. You see what we do nowadays? This is more like perversion. We have teachings, as we say. We have a yajna, we do our pujas, then we have a vyas that is related. Scripture has given us teaching like what we are doing here. But in those days, yajnas was of a different type, as we say. Different type. Because why? There was a specific cause that was expected to have to be the outcome at the end of it. So what, just to give an example, they will have the area prepared, right? The whole mandap area, and the shrota, like in this instance here, Devdat. Devdat would not be sitting like how this family is sitting here. What they will do, they will prepare a place for them one side. We refer to like a pavilion like now, but not a literal pavilion like you go and watch cricket. It's just a place where they will sit, make sacrifices, obviously, fast, certain practices will be given, certain sacrifices will be given to them by the holy ones. They will make those sacrifices and sit down one side. And the Brahmins will be the one who will be performing all the sacrifices. So there will be basically 4 individuals, 4 Brahmins. So what is mentioned here? That one of the Brahmins will be responsible for overseeing the whole sacrifice. We call him the high priest in local terms. So he will be the one that is there and making sure everything falls in place. Then you have another one who will be officiating, performing all the hawans, etc. Right? He will be offering oblations into the fire. Then you have another Brahman, another one. What he will be responsible for? Preparing the area. Like for example, now we just have an area here, we have a normal kind of whatever we think is okay. But in those days, specific dimensions were given, specific, size was given. So he was responsible for measuring the place, right? So this is why I'm saying that every individual was qualified in their own way. So his responsibility was measuring the area based on, checking calculation, etc. What is required? Measure the area. He was responsible for putting all the different, emblems as such in various locations based on Vedic knowledge. Then he was responsible for preparing all the vessels. Now in those days we didn't have, like how we have nice fancy bowl and thing. They have to make their vessels, etc. So he'll be responsible for those things, that they put the ghee and all those things. He'll be responsible for fetching the wood. Nowadays what you do, any kind of wood you get to burn it. You get a little mango wood, you put it, sometimes you get a neem leaf, you get a little guava wood, you get a little pine, what do you call it, sapotella tree wood. But those days, specific, based on the results of the yajna, specific type of wood will be used. He was responsible for lighting the fire. You see that Agni Kund devotees? One day in service we're going to talk about that. The importance of the Agni, right? Not just that fire lighting there, This is referred to as, in puja, it is referred to as Brahmagni. But I say in due course. But in those days, when you see there was to light that fire, they didn't say take match and light the fire, or lighter like we have now, this lighter. We are condemning those things, That's what they have to use. But in these days here, devotees, what they will do, they will check the specific time the light fire have to be lit. They'll check the specific conditions. And not only that, what they will do, they will use pieces of wood recommended. It doesn't say what here, but they will use those like how they did long time. right? We say caveman days, right? But those are things that were done by the Holy One long time ago. Rub the wood together until that flame is created, natural flame, and that fire will be lit. It's not just like how we do it now. Take a piece of march grain, light the fire, then it should the march grain, the fire right there. Right? Or you light, pak, and light it. Those are adaptations we make now. But in these days mentioned here, this special individual, this special priest, he was a technical individual. He knew all the technicalities of these things. So he will prepare the place, measure the area, fetch the wood, light the fire, and devotees, make all preparations necessary for the yajna to take place. Then you'll have another very important speech as we mentioned, the Vyas of the yajna. He will be the one, the chief priest as we say, right? Not the high priest, the chief priest. The high priest is the one who's supervising, but the chief priest. For example, we go to a yajna. I'm the Upurohit performing the puja. I like the chief priest. The Vyaji, Parmachar, he's the high priest. He's the officiating priest. You understand? He oversees the whole yajna. I'm just assisting. So this is how it is. Think that in your mind. You have one who's assisting, making sure everything is okay, but then you have the chief priest, the Ved Vyas, the Vyasji. He's that one. His responsibility is to do what? Is to recite, chant the mantras from the Samaved. So now here, just to come back here, each and every one of these priests, they were qualified. One is qualified in preparation according to Yajurved. One is qualified in preparation according to the Atharvaved, and then the Samaved. So here, this holy one, Gobhil is his name. Was his name. He was an excellent reciter of the Samaved. So he was the chief priest, as we say, the Ved Vyas. So prepare the whole scene. The mandap is prepared. The Agnikun, dug in the ground. We have not like nowadays, just make Agnikun and other kind of Agnikun. The Agnikun was dug in the ground. And all these things were prepared. So they were all there preparing themselves, waiting. Then the chief priest, as we say, Gobhil, what he will do? The Ved Vyas, he will ascend, the asan that is prepared, elevated seat. And then his responsibility now is to chant the Vedic mantras. This is why we say in puja, if you do not have the Vedic mantras chanted, the puja is of no use. Of no use. It's not just physical action. You have the vachik, puja, mansik, vachik, and upansu. Upansu, physical action. You could put offer, everybody can offer flower. Who don't know how to offer flower in Saraswati Murti? Who do not offer flower by Agni Devata? You understand what I'm saying? Or by Lakshmi Mata. But the mantra that accompanies it is what is important. This is why we say in a puja, the mantras are most important. Most important. You can perform how much physical action you want. You don't have no mantras, the puja is just a mere physical action. Nothing to get. And we have what referred to as mantra siddhi, perfection in mantra. That takes a long time for the Upurohit to master. You have to take years and years of sacrifices. Years and years of sacrifices. As a matter of fact, I learned from my late uncle Pandit Paramanan. He's the only person I ever heard say this, and I know it was said otherwise, but he's the first person I heard say this. That in a Brahman's life, you have to recite the Gayatri Mantra a minimum of 500,000 times. 500,000 times Gayatri Mantra you're supposed to recite in your whole life. Well, me know much I reach as yet. I show me I reach half of it. But the point about it is that the sacrifice had to be in order to get mantra siddhi. This is why some of the holy ones, I can remember Shankaracharya ji, my late grandfather, Pandit Hari Prasad, you have my Pitaji, my late father-in-law, Pandit Chandrabose Shukla, Paramacharya ji, Pandit Balaram, these senior ones, they just had to put the flower and call your name and they gave him lessons. You understand what I'm saying? Mantra siddhi. I remember my grandfather coming, sitting there, and people will come and point their hearts out to him. He just said, go ahead, I'll see about it for you. Or he just say, go and bring a flower from that tree. Send them in the lawn, let them pick a flower and bring it back. He say, hold his flowers and close your eyes. And he will just say, Om. I see that with my own eyes. Om, go ahead, everything's going to be okay. I bet anything, everything's going to be okay. Because why? Mantra siddhi. The perfection, the vibration, the spirituality, energy is the mantra. I say mantra, that which comes from. So the mantra itself extracts positive vibrations. So this here, devotees, mantra is not no easy, by the way thing, I'm sorry to say that they have pundits, we hear how they say mantra, you just don't say anything. For example, Om Apavitra Pavitrova. You hear Om Apavitra Pavitrova. Totally wrong. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. You understand what I'm saying? Om Trambakam Yajamahi. Om Trayambakam Yajamahi. So mantras, devotees, are very, very, very powerful. You could say mantras for the whole of your life, and you don't say it properly, you have no blessings to get. As a matter of fact, it will work adverse. Adverse. This is why I keep mentioning that I've learned from the senior ones that there are specific mantras given regardless of how you say it. Good or bad, proper intonation or wrong intonation, the mantra has been blessed. That you get blessings for just by saying it, no matter how you say it. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jai Shri Ram. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namas Chandikaya. Sri Saraswati Jayanti. Om Sri Mahalakshmi. These are mantras that have been blessed. No matter how you say it, they get blessings. But then there are intricate stotras that you have to have proper foundation, as we say, proper pronunciation, proper attitude in order for you to get blessings. As a matter of fact, as I mentioned just now, you could cause more problem to yourself. It's like the plug, right? We always use the plug as an example. You put the plug correctly, you're going to get the fan working, the pace system in here. Put it wrong side, what's going to happen? You burn down the house and electrocute your own self and kill yourself too. Burn yourself to ashes. The same plug, so to the mantras, the same stotras, etc. You have to recite it properly, proper intonation. This is why the holy ones have indicated that say what you can say, which has blessings in it. That which, no matter how you say it, they're going to get blessings. And then you have the qualified ones. Like in this instance here, Gobhil was qualified in his Samved, was qualified in reciting these mantras that will give blessings to the Yagyakarta for Putrishti. When Raja Dashrath was wanted to perform Putrishti Yagya upon the advice of Guru Vashishta, they said he got the qualified ones. He got the not anybody who he felt. Same thing when Prabhu Sri Ram consecrated that Shivalinga in Rameshwar before he go to Lanka to free Sita Mata. He say, my desire is to worship the Shivalinga here. And he say, Vedibilinga, according to the laws of scriptures. And what is mentioned in Chaupai, he sent messengers into the forest to bring the Upurohits, the Brahmins, to perform the sacrifice. Because they were qualified in this particular field. Now, in the way of, let's say India and other places, you have specialist pundits to do certain things. Now in Trinidad, pundits had to make an adoption. There are one pundit in the family who could do the puja, who could do the funeral, who could do everything else. It's an adoption. But in real, actual life, as we say, how it's supposed to be, every single, this is why they had 4 different ones here. One to prepare the place, one to oversee everything, one who's making the offerings into the fire, one who, the chief priest, the most qualified of all, the Vyasji, who is reciting the mantras. So every single aspect, who is specialist in Srad, who is specialist in Antaishti Karma, who is specialist in Upanayan Sanskar. Because every single one is a whole practice by itself. But as I mentioned in Trinidad, from time immemorial when our ancestors came, based on need, the Pandit has learned to everything, has become qualified in the whole spectrum because this is what is required. But here, back to Gobhil. Gobhil was specialized he was an excellent reciter of the Samved, the hymns or the slokas from the Samved that will bring results to this Putrishi Yagya. But, you see, everything that they plan, don't go how you plan. You know that, right? Everything that you plan, don't go how you plan it. So something always has to be there. And all is the test of life that happens to us. So let us hear what happened here. They said Gobhil now was of a sort of old age individual. Old age. Right? They didn't say how much years, but old age. So, the whole thing about that, when you recite mantras, let's use a mantra for example. We use Gayatri mantra. The mantra has a specific cycle that must be used. A specific, way it must be recited, a certain, flow it must have. Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. A specific cycle. You go Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat. You won't say it like that? That is wrong. God forgive me, I just make an example. But what I'm trying to say that all in mantras, this is why when we're doing puja, another important thing here, that when puja is being conducted, there should be no disturbance. Because when the Pandit starts, you put Upurohit, Om Apavitra Pavitra Va Sarva Vasthanga Tupiva, Yahasmarit Pundirikaksha Savaya Bhyantara Hasuchi, Om Adao Ganapati Bande Vignanasham Vinayakam, recite the mantra, is a whole flow. A puja is from one point to the next, one point to the next, one point to the next. So sometimes when I see puja going on, I devotee, Baba, I'm explaining this for me now, Baba, that is not right. That is right. You bring sin upon you yourself. And when you say something, say, don't disturb the puja. I'll ask the question afterwards. You get vexed. Because if you get the Baba arrogant. But the Baba trying to protect you from bringing sin upon you yourself. And we'll hear. You understand what I'm saying? So these are the things. That's why when you do our Havan, Om Gam Ganapati Namaha Swaha. And I mentioned to everybody, say it together. Say it in one voice. Om Gam Ganapati Namaha Swaha. Om Gam, and a cycle. Because mantras is to be recited in a cyclical way. Not outer cycle. Outer cycle. So here the devotee is Gobhil. But he was a very old person as mentioned. So obviously we know that when you're getting older, health, etc. is a challenge. When you're young, you could blow song. However long, I remember my father, I check he blow song for daddy, 1 minute straight. Aja boy, 1 minute straight he blow song. Poo, without stopping. But now, maybe 30 seconds, because he's getting older. When he was in the young days and doing puja all over, 1 minute straight, that man blowing song. For something, the whole the verse of the arti and the chorus and the first verse too, he blowing song still. And loud. But now, unable to do such action, because why? Body debilitation. Even when he's singing his bhajans, you can hear. Long time when he's could have pulled, the height still go high, but the point about it that you will see is an effort. But this is part of life's journey. Nobody is exempted from that.
Rukamiva Bandanan, Mrityurmuksham Amritat.
Mantra. He began to draw his breath. You know, like, I say, happen, stopping and going, stopping and going. So, the area that mantra prepared, and he's performing, he's already concentrating on listening, that energy of that mantra, be with him, he and his wife, so that, Putrishi is going to become successful. She's going to become an expectant mother. But he thinking something different. The man reciting the mantra, his age, he can't carry the line. He can't, carry it as supposed to. He cut in halfway. He's stopping. He might be, up and down. So when Devdutt is hearing this, he became enraged. He became vexed. And, after a while, sometimes we could listen to something, some people, and they could hear it and hear it. But after it becomes, it takes up a toll on your when Hanuman was bursting that bead in Uttarakhand there, after they came back, etc., and that bead was given, that bead, most precious gem mala was given to Sita Mata. Sita Mata said, this, I don't really deserve this tonight. I want to give this to somebody who is more deserving of it. And she looked at Sri Ram looked at her, and who her mind was on? Who her mind was on? Pavanaputra Bajrangbali. That no one is more deserving of his bead other than Pavanaputra, because we know the whole of the Katha, because of Pavanaputra, that he came there, found her, and he was able to instruct or inform Sri Ram, where she was, so that Sri Ram could come and get her. So many, activities that Pavanaputra was involved in, and she gave Pavanaputra that precious gem, precious, Ratnamala, as it's known as. When Pavanaputra saw it, he watching it here, right? Okay, good. He see nothing. Then he took it out and he burst the bead, burst the mala, beads cut all over. When he burst that mala, like someone king, like you take a spear and push it through their heart, man, they cringe. And then he took up one bead and he watched it, nothing. And what he did, he put that bead between his teeth and he burst it, precious gem. What? No, that's like a piece of paper for him. Burst it. When he looked at it, nothing, threw it away, and he did this continuously. All them things were sitting there. It burning them inside. But some of them could, some people, you can see something and stay quiet, right? Just, if they body anybody, they say nothing. But then, as some of them who had to open their mouth. So what happened? They said, one of the king got up and said, hey, Pavanaputra, what you doing? What you doing? And his statement simply put, when people get something and they're not deserving of it, this is what they do. This is what they destroy it. Why are you bursting the bead, that precious mala? Why are you bursting that mala and throwing away the bead? You're cracking the bead and throwing it away. And then humbly, what Hanuman Baba said, "Hey, Bhaiya, I'm looking for your name Ram. I'm not seeing it on the outside, so maybe I might see it on the inside." So what he doing? He not seeing the value of the material mala, you know. He looking for the internal value, the power of the name Ram. And then that's when he was challenged. Ram in you, and then he burst his chest. But the whole point about it is that some people can see and don't say anything, but Devdat now, he became enraged. He became angry. Immediately he got up and said, "Hey, go bail to Murkho. Just so, you are a fool." Now he talking to Vyasa. So he's sitting in the pavilion there, listening. And then he stood up and to Murkho, Murkhata. Oh Gobil, you are the most foremost of Munis, most foremost of reciting the Samved. But yet still, at this point in time, you're performing this sacrifice like you're illiterate. So imagine that, eh? Imagine you're going on and you get up and start to abuse the Vyas. Abuse the Vyas. Oh, Vyas, what's stupidness you're talking? You're talking foolishness. You know, you're murk, you're a fool. He got up and he started to abuse, you know, Govil. To murkho, you're a fool. You cutting up the mantra. This mantra that you are reciting from Isam Ved has to be recited in a specific way, in a specific cycle. Everything has to go in a cycle. And by you performing such an action, what you're doing, you're cutting up the mantra, you're bringing obstacles in my yajna. And, you know, maybe my sacrifice of having a yajna, having a son, Putreshti, will come to naught. Will come to naught because of your foolishness. That is highly, real embarrassing, you know. That is shamelessness, as a matter of fact. Shamelessness. So here devotees, Devdat devotees, he embarrassed Govil like that. But Govil devotees are old man, he had no choice. You know what I mean? What else he could do? But as mentioning, these individuals, highly spiritual, they may not be able to perform the physical action, but they're like a depthless ocean, like an abyss as he mentioned. One word they can say, you could go right up. And one word they can say, you can drag literally. One word. Offer one flower for you, you can go right up, get all your blessings. Put one their mouth on you, curse. So here devotees, when Devdat abused Govil like that, Govil initially, obviously, he got agreed. He got upset that, oh, Devdat, I am performing this yajna for you. You invited me to your home or your area to perform this yajna for you. And that is the way you're going to treat me? That is how you're going to speak to me? I'm an old man. I have my limitations. But my word will bring blessings to you, O Devdat. But, here this is going to come in. But, this sacrifice that I'm doing it with a good mind. I'm doing it with a good mind. You know, pure intellect. You know, pure thoughts. Nothing negative in it. But what you have done, you bring sin upon your own self. I'm going to give you a sarap. That, oh, Devdat, you will have a son. You will have a son. But that son of yours is going to be totally illiterate. You're going to have a son, but you're going to have an illiterate son. You'll be bereft of all knowledge. No understanding, no comprehension. And imagine something like that, devotees. Something like that. Illiterate, no comprehension, no understanding, bereft of all knowledge. This is what you will get. I'll complete the yajna, but this is what you will get. You wanted a son, you're going to get a son. But because of your attitude, your actions, your whole mentality, you will have a son, but one who is totally, a total murk. And devotees is mentioned here, I mentioned already, that I'm an old person. What I do is not out of spite for you. I'm not doing it because of spite. I'm doing it because why? It's a respiratory problem. I'm an old man. I'm not doing this, because I want to do like that. I have no control over my breathing because of my age. There's no fault of mine. My heart is sincere. This way of reciting my mantras is, maybe not the correct format, but my heart is pure. But you, Devdat, Mahamati, you're supposed to be more intelligent than that. And you cannot understand that. So this is why sometimes devotees are making a point here. You see, old people, I just tell them nothing, you know, because you do not know what they are going through. You do not know what they are going through. So they may do something that, you know, may irritate you. But I do think they will never ever do it genuinely wrong, because they cannot help themselves. They cannot help themselves. So this is why it's important, you know. And we see, you know, everybody on social media, you have people watching us, and all of us on social media, and we see many videos circulate of how people treat old people. Totally wrong. Totally wrong. Now, I'm not saying that you can see about them at your home, obviously, based on circumstance, you may put them in a place, you know, where someone can see about them better than you, but, you know, you have that consideration, etc. That, you know, communication, that consideration is there. But we're speaking about the case of abuse. Abuse. They're not, you know, not able to control themselves. So here the same exact thing. Go will say, I'm old at age. Whatever is hard for me to control my breathing. When I pull, you know, long time when I'm young, you could pull and retain, right? But I am able to, you know, say inhalation, retention, right? I'm unable to hold my breath because of my age, and you're faulting me for that. You're supposed to be better understanding. But your son will be totally ignorant, bereft of all knowledge, all. And devotees, what is mentioned here, we couldn't conclude the katha. It is said, go, do that now. You know, when they get it done, they sketch yourself, right? When you see a fall and scrape and break up your nose, then you sketch yourself. You don't study the way you do before, you know. Here, his whole thing now. That, if offense that I've committed for you to give me such a sarap. Here we say now, Devdat is telling Gobhil that, oh Muni, what have I done so serious that, you know, to give me such a sarap? Because you're void of all anger. You're supposed to be soft-hearted, half soft-hearted for others. But devotees, see, that's what the problem is. And it just correlated nowadays with Upurahits in particular. People forget to tell the opponent anything they want. The opponent doesn't get vexed and doesn't get back at you, as we say, not from vindictive say, but defend themselves. They call them thief vex. That happened to me already, playing cricket. You know, something happened, I know, long time when they were young, and when they're younger, things like that. Get vexed. The fella say, well, you're upon there, so always get vexed. I say, who tell you that? So you must do me anything you want, and I mustn't get vexed. I mustn't correct you, leave you as you are. You understand what I'm saying? So here, Devdat is saying the same thing. You are a holy man. You know, you're not supposed to get vexed, anger in such a way. And besides that, what serious sin have I committed? So embarrassing the man, putting him down, you know, tell him all those things is nothing bad. And that's how many people are, you know. What you say, never bad. That little thing, that what you get vexed for? You know how the other person feeling? You know that? These are important things, you know, devotees. And this is what causes downfall in life. When we get sarap, you wonder what happened. Somebody walk a thing on me. Yeah, you walk it on your own self. Because of your attitude. And sometimes devotees, you know, people is figuring, what are you saying everything for? But, you know, I have learned from the senior ones, we say what we have to say. Who take it, all well and good. Who figure it, they good, well, do listen. But the point about it is that all these things are what will help us prevent ourselves from downfall. So here, devotees, what he says, O Brahm, O Holy One, that offense that I've committed is very trivial. Very trivial. Nothing big in that. Why have you inflicted on me such a severe curse? Such a severe curse. And he goes on to say, I'm already under mental agony. Already under mental agony. My mind is already in a state of agony because of no issue, as we say. And now to come and put this upon me, why did you do that? So you see how the thing is? When they say, when the shoes on the other foot, you know without the pinching, you know. When they see you comfortable, they don't make no difference. But when you see what happened is when you see you get the backlash, as we say, then you get some sense. But there's something be too late. And there's a whole set of slokas here. I will not go through all. I'll just mention two. That what he says, hello, Vyasji, that the holy ones have declared that it's better to have no son than have an ignorant and illiterate son. Better have no son than have an ignorant, illiterate son. Pundits have indicated that. And because, and a Brahman to suit, that if the Brahman is illiterate, then what? People pour scorn upon him. They pour scorn upon him. And it mentioned here that a Brahman who would be bereft of the Vedic knowledge, He's like that fleecy clouds, have no substance. You see the white fleecy cloud? What are they? Just good for show. Nothing else. That is no use to the farmer. It had to use nobody who wants plants water. That's just in the air. So a Brahman who is bereft of Vedic knowledge is like that white fleecy cloud. And not only that, what he says is that, oh Gobhil, is Vyasji, if anybody wants fruitsome sacrifices that they perform, sadhanas, etc., will never invite an illiterate Brahman, never to take his position upon his seat, to perform his ceremonies, whether related to Pitris, the Devatas. Why? Because they have no benefit to get. None. So when you see this is an important thing, the Vyas, you see the Vyas in the Yag is like the Bhagwan in the Yag, you know. When you see the Vyas is upon this thing Hasan, is a Vyas who must disseminate the knowledge without fear and favor. Without fear and favor. As I mentioned just now, say what it is, and according to the words of Shankaracharya, you call a speed. But obviously we have ways of saying it, you must make it not sound too bad, but the facts must always be there. You mustn't afraid to disseminate facts. And this is what is happening. Plenty saying whatever they feel to say, not performing whatever scriptures on scriptures. And I just want to make just one point here. One point. That from this part here, they say here Brahman. Now, I'm just going to say what I have to say based on scriptural injunction. Who want to take it, take it. Who want to take it, that is your decision. Right? I say what I have to say. And Krishna Bhagavan made it very, very clear. If we go to chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita, right? Chapter 4, verse 13 of the Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna Bhagavan says, that to Arjun, and he speaks of the forecast. He speaks of the forecast, and I'll tell you a little bit. He says, O Arjun, the four orders of society, which are the Brahman, and you see, I'm reading from the book, I hide in our next book inside. I'm reading from the Bhagavad Gita. And the Bhagavad Gita is the justification, is the word of Krishna Bhagavan. It is the verbal manifestation of the Lord. Verbal manifestation of the Lord. And as mentioned, what is ordained by the scripture, Bhagavad Gita. So here, oh Arjun, what he's saying, that the four orders of society, the Brahman, the Kshatri, the Vaisya, and the Sudra, they were created by me, meaning Krishna Bhagavan, classifying them in according to their gunas, the predominant gunas. And this is the important word here, appointing corresponding duties to them. This is the important word here, duties. Duties. So what Krishna Bhagavan said in Bhagavad Gita, he created the forecast. There's Brahman, there is Kshatri, there is Vaisya, and there is Sudra. And the important word is the duty. Now I'm going to make a point that many of the pundits, they say, where's Brahman, where's Kshatri, where's Vaisya, where's Sudra? Anybody could be anything. That is where they're wrong. Maybe they have some justification, but then the Bhagavad Gita didn't say that. But what is important is that they look at it from the point of who hired and who. That is how they look at it. Who hired and who. You figure it's a Brahman, they hired and me. It's not that. That is a wrong interpretation. What Krishna Bhagavan says here, the Brahman, the Kshatri, the Vaisya, and the Sudra, they exist. But they are portioning corresponding duties. So everybody has a duty in life. Every one of us. Who are the Brahmans? The Brahmans are the Upurohits. They want to perform the scriptural, follow scriptural injunction, perform sacrifice, etc. Then the Kshatriya, the warrior class of this day, and it goes on like that. So what is important for us to understand that every one of us fall in one of these four categories. Whether I like it or not, it doesn't make a difference to me. Because why? Krishna Bhagavan says it. So who say what? Let it go ahead. But the point about it, that the justification is that the Brahman, the Kshatriya, Vaisya, Sudra is there. So the Brahman responsibility, Upurhiti karma. The Kshatriya responsibility, warrior class. And if you go to chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, I have a note here. I made mention, make the note so you know exactly where I'm reading from. Chapter 2, verse 33. This first one is chapter 4, verse 13. Go and check it and see. This other one, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 33. What Krishna Bhagavan says, O Arjun, now, if you refuse to fight this righteous war, shrinking your duty and losing your reputation, you will incur sin. Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Your duty. If you fail to perform this duty of yours, shrinking, staying away from your duty, losing your reputation, you will incur sin. So what is mentioned here, that Devdutt is saying, I'm of the Brahman class. The Brahman, well, class in the word, I don't mean class in the sense that they're high and low, but the Brahman mentioned here, the Brahman category, use that word. And my duty as a Brahman is to perform sacrifices. And if my son is illiterate, then what will happen? Nobody will take him to perform sacrifices. Then he will not be able to receive any gifts as such. How could you do sankalp? Another important thing, when you give a Brahman dakshina, or seed, whatever you want, you have to sankalp it. Give that blessing, that when you accept that from them, that whatever they have given to you, blessing will go back to them. But if you're illiterate and they can't do it, what will happen? So just to mention, I say, not to beat up the point, but whoever thinks that the forecast will exist, that is your choice to decide. But Krishna Bhagavan mentioned it. And everyone has a duty. Everyone has, not anybody could be a Brahman. Not anybody could be a Vaisya. Not anybody could be a Sudra. Not anybody could be a Kshatri. You have to be born in that class, as we see. And look at it again from a mundane point. Everybody could be a lawyer, Uncle Sundar. Everybody could be a doctor. Everybody could be a teacher. You have certain qualifications. Certain, and the reality is that everybody was born in this particular class. For example, you notice certain, people, they become doctors, the sacrifice they make. Others may try, but they're not able to. They may become good at something else. Not everybody could be a cricketer. Not everybody could get a contract to go and play in the IPL or to be a test cricketer. You understand what I'm saying? So don't take it as something that is different. Look at it in your own life. So the same exact way, every one of us, we are born as a specific caste, and we have duties to perform. So anytime you look at that caste, that who's a Pandit, who's a Pandit? Anybody can be Pandit. You look at it from a class point of view. If you get the Brahman higher, that is where you go wrong. That is the biggest mistake you're making. It's from a point of duty. Everybody has a duty. Everybody. So what Devdutt is saying here, oh Govil, this son of mine of the Brahman class, if he's illiterate, then he'll be bereft of all knowledge. Then nobody will, make sacrifices. Nobody will, accept him. Nobody will accept him. And then, move on quickly, it is said, when Govil heard that, and heard the plea of Devdutt, again, no matter what, the holy man soft-hearted. You could do what you want, you could abuse him, and I always get the message of Shankaracharya when the zamindar came, the businessman, and whatever, and Papa said, I'm going to help him. So no matter what devotees, when Devdutt put all this to Govil, it is said, oh Govil, you are the foremost of Brahman. You are versed in all the Vedas. What you have said just now, you're like bringing death to me. Like bringing death to me. Better I die than to have a literate son. Better I die than this curse, it's like death to me. And then, what he said, oh, I plead with you. I plead with you, oh Govil, please, free me from this death. Free me from this, not death, sarap. Free me from this sarap, this curse of yours. And he prostrated to the feet of Govil and he started to cry. And distress, as we say. Now Govil, seeing the distress, attitude, again, as mentioned here, the person, a noble-hearted one, they get so very, very quickly. Very, very quickly. And I remember my father-in-law, Pandit Chandra Bose, he's a living example. People can tell you whatever they want. I know people who tell him all kind of thing. I turn back and go back to themselves and to puja. And what is his whole modus operandi? And them have to pay for the karma. Let me do what I have to do. He always mentioned that. And let me not fail in my duty. I see people abuse him. They will do puja, never give him anything, but he'll go back and do puja for them. Why? Because that is his duty. He never hold malice in his mind. So he said, Govil here. After Devdutt plead and cry and whatever, he was very moved as such to see Devdutt in such a state. I say, oh Devdutt, okay, I'm going to give you a blessing. I'm going to give you a blessing. Your son will be born a murk, a total fool. Total fool. He'll be born a murk. But after some period of time, he'll become an enlightened soul. An enlightened soul. And the devotees, this bless him, I'm going to give you. So here, just to wrap this part here, they said, Govel had to, not Govel, Devdat had to accept that, and he gave Govel his dakshina, etc., and disbursed. So the time came now, devotees. It is said that his wife became expectant mother, became an expectant mother, and as being an expectant mother, the time came when she gave birth to this boy. But they say, from then this boy was born, and you look at him, you could see something wrong. You could see something wrong. We don't have to close the example. I'm just making it straight for you. We don't want to see anything. But from then this boy was born. From then he came into this world, and look at him, you know something was wrong. And parents knew, sometimes the baby born and the parents get that thing, something right here, something right. But devotee, remember, all of this is based on actions. And there's what we have cause and we have effect. Cause and effect. You see, effect, cause is effect concealed, effect is cause reveal. You see that? Live a life with that. Those two words, cause and effect. Cause and effect. Cause, effect conceal. So let me use the tomato seed. I like to use tomatoes. You put the tomato seed in the ground and that's the cause, right? The effect that come up as yet. But when the tree bursts, the seed bursts and the plant come up, that's the effect of the cause. Right or wrong? You understand? And that's for everybody in life. Cause and effect. Cause, effect conceal, effect is cause reveal. So when things happening in life, and then for myself too, don't think I exempted from this. I use this principle. I say maybe somewhere in the past, I did something and this is the effect of the cause. But that doesn't mean that you take a fatalistic approach and say, well, we're going to do karma. You have to make effort. Make effort. So the whole thing about it is that whatever how this boy was born, from the time the child came into this world, the cause of the effect. The cause revealed. Effect concealed, cause revealed. That is Vedanta. That is in scripture. So here devotees, after some time, 8 years, when the boy was 8 years old, that's what he did. He performed Upanayan Sanskar. And Brahmins, devotees, Upanayan Sanskar. Chatri also perform Upanayan Sanskar. And if you go to Ramayana again, if you go to Kishkina, you see Ramayana, everything, People think Ramayana is a story. Ramayana has every scripture. Every scripture that exists is present in Ramayana. When Hanuman Baba was sent by Sugriv, this first in Kishkinaka and Age Chale Bahirogaraya, when Sugriv was hiding from Bali and he went to Rishimukh Parvat, that mountain of Bali couldn't go there. Beautiful story. And Sugriv saw Sri Rama Lakshman traversing the pathways. In his mind, he said, oh God, like Bali sent, even though Bali couldn't come, but I do not put anything beyond him, he might send these two individuals to come and destroy me. I say, oh, Hanuman, go and see who these two individuals are. Go and see. Check them out, test them, etc. Do what you need to do. And what happened? When Hanuman Baba went there, he transformed himself in the form of a Bipra, a Brahman. And he started to, look at, looking at the feet of Prabhu Shri Ram, not the face really, but maybe up to the neck area. And he noticed, he said, the way your journey was tied, I know that you are Chatri. The way the journey was tied, I'm not going to tell you, because people like to find that, you figure you're upon it, hang up a Janu and figure yes upon it. Janu make you upon it. So you have to be very careful. But the Brahman has a special tie, right? I explained that to the boys already. Chatri has a special tie, Vaisya. Sudra don't do Janu. Brahman, Chatri, Vaisya. So the thing about it is that the Janu, and that is in Ramayana, that's not what I say, that is in Ramayana. How Pavana Putra say, how we refer to these Sri Rama Lakshman. He didn't call them Sri Rama Lakshman, but he referred to them. The way your Janu is tied, I know that you are Chatri. So here devotees, Upanayan Sanskar, that Janu Sanskar is what is important. And when you get the Janu, they say then you are qualified as such to perform Upuriti. I wouldn't say to perform Upuriti Karma, because you have to learn, to start your learning of Upuriti Karma. So not because you have a Janu, mean you are upon it overnight. You have learning. Learning, you have to go through the whole process. I'm telling you personally, we went through a lot of training, Pitaji, Paramachari, before I even did the first puja. Years and years and years of going and listening and watching and learning and whatever. Getting plenty ball up and all kind of thing. But that was the training. So not because you have a Janu, mean you could go and do puja. Because why? As I mentioned in the beginning, you have to learn your mantras. You can't say the mantras anyhow you feel. And so from that I wanted to listen to see if you all could have understood the mantras, and I send it to certain sites and go and how they say the mantra, and you will tell me right or wrong. But they don't want to condemn nobody. But I'm telling you, mantra is totally wrong. Totally wrong. This is why, as I mentioned, I follow Pitaji, Paramacharyaji. I say my mantra in front of them. Years of performance of puja. They correct me when the time is there, and you move forward. Even my father-in-law, certain mantras that he said, when you listen to it, and you say it, he correct you. Say it so, and that's how you learn. You don't come upon it to it overnight. You don't. And again, you want to become an engineer. You sit down and say, okay, let me become an engineer tomorrow morning. And you get an engineering degree. That can't happen. That will never happen. Sanjay is here, he will know. Sacrifice, Sanjay. Sacrifice and years, internship and everything else before you become qualified. And not only qualified, to take your position. So not because you have a degree mean you can take your position. You still have your learning to go through. So not because you have a janeu mean you can become a operator overnight. Not because you can sing al bhajan. You understand? And play harmonium. You come upon it. Here devotees, the whole thing is there. So the time came, at 8 years, he do upuriti, the janeu sanskar for his son. And devotees, he decided to perform all these. And the next step is that he made him accept Brahmacharya state. And Uncle Sundar mentioned last week, we spoke of Brahmacharya, Grihasti, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. The Brahmacharya. This is the first stage. At this age in life, 8 years, Brahmacharya. So he inducted him into Brahmacharya sanskar, the stage, ashram. And everything that was needed to be performed as a child, was done for him. But one thing again, murkhata, illiterate. The boy couldn't pronounce one single word. Not even one word the boy could say. He can't say I, U, Ri, like ka, ga, all these things, devotee, the Hindi alphabet, Sanskrit alphabet. The first of the vowels. The man can't even say that. He can't pronounce Who can pronounce He can't pronounce Simple little things that he couldn't done. Simple mantras, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Who cannot learn that? The child couldn't pronounce that. He couldn't say itself. And devotees in this way, simply put, very, very stupid. Illiterate. And it is said his father tried in every way. Say, okay, son, come. You cannot say it, let's write it. So he showed any patience there, let's write it. Man can't hold a pencil or whatever he used. Couldn't hold out to write. Couldn't make no formation, no letter whatsoever. None. And then devotees, it is said, when the father was speaking to him, this is another thing too. When somebody is speaking to you, so also pay attention to them. When the father is trying to, so you have lick it, where you can write, right? Then you have, where you can write, and then you have vak, speech. So the father is trying to teach him now. Teach him. But saying, oh son, he mind all over the place. The father talking to him, but he mind so, and I don't know the children operate. I'm telling you. Sometimes talk to them so, and I'm mind so. Boy, where mind there? Huh? You understand what I'm saying? Sita, that happened? Plenty. Don't worry, I went through the same thing too, and I'm still going through it. But the point about it, not that murkata, it's just lack of concentration. But the point about it, he was so because he was illiterate. So he couldn't understand anything, his mind is his own direction. The father talked to him here, but he mind so. And then what happened, simply put, after 12 years passed, devotees, 12 years, from 8, 9, 10, 11, 4 years after, the boy couldn't learn anything. None whatsoever. As a matter of fact, he was so illiterate, he couldn't perform sadhana vandana. The sadhana vandana. Sadhana vandana, like, you perform your lighting of your diya, offering of your gel, etc. He couldn't even do that. And devotees, it is said, his name was Uttatya, forget to mention that. He gave him the name Uttatya. So Devdat, Uttatya was the name of the boy. I said the time came, when the father and mother realized that, this is very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. I just want to make one little point here. Sometimes, and we see it happen in life. Sometimes a child who can't learn. Let me rephrase that. I don't want to put the boy down. Who have difficulties in learning. Say it in a different way. Who have difficulties in learning. And what you will do as a parent, you crack it ill. Sorry to make it sound so. Beat him. Pull up his hair. Ring up his ears. You understand? Torture him. Put him in naughty corner. You think the child doing that for spite? The child doing that for spite? Your ignorance and impatience causing that. I'm telling you. Because why, Sita? When they were writing SEA, I went through some of that. And then I have to analyze for myself. They're trying to do 3 papers a day. They're making sacrifice. What are you getting so for? They're doing the best they could do. But you still have to make the effort. But the point about what I'm trying to say, we know of example where children, where parents beat children. We have example of going to quality place and area, but a SCA child hang himself because of pressure. Hang himself, a child who write SCA, hang himself because of pressure. Pressure from the parents. You're stupid, you're a donkey, you're a murk, you're a monkey. You have to be very careful. So in this instance here, this is the example. Whatever a child is going through, it's not because of their fault, you know. You have to check and see. Maybe somewhere there's some difficulties, some karma, and there are things that you can do. This is why we always advise people, when you see children like this, don't take it up on your own. Take out your own frustration on the child. Take the child to the guru. Take the child to the pandit, right? The one who you consider, and ask him to check and see, and maybe there is something that needs to be done. The example is here, right? This child is like this. Why? Because of sarap. Not because you want to be so. You think the child, no, if you put the child so, you remain just so. You put them so, you remain just so. You put them so, you remain just so. You think the child conscious? And this goes for people, and again, differently able children. Let me use that word. Differently able children, right? They do not know. They can't help themselves. Cannot help themselves. This is why as parents, whatever happening in such a way, you have to be understanding that this is not their fault. This is based on karmas. Somewhere karmas. And everything in this world revolves around karma. Everything. So here devotees, they said, Devdutt and his wife, you know, the boy totally illiterate. Murkhata. Nothing could be learned. And what happened? Eventually they get fed up. They get fed up like 20 parents. And one day what happened, devotees, the father and mother was in the room talking. And he overheard, you know, no matter how he was, but you know, just pick up little signs. And he started to realize that like he's becoming a burden. And then when he confirmed that now, what happened? They said he overheard his father and mother saying, better we didn't have a son. Better we did not have a son, have a fool like this boy. Just so. No, I'm making a statement here. Sometimes you say one boy is a donkey, but you're joking with children. So they make a joke with them, but we talk about serious rebuke. Sometimes they say, one boy, where your headache? You're a monkey, you're a fool, but they don't mean it, you know, they know I kicks in. But the point that we talk about serious rebuke, where you see it from your heart, vengeance is there. They are different between joke and vengeance, you know. You can make it, if you don't make joke with the children, who you make joke with? One boy, where head is, you know on it? Where brain is, you know on it? Things like that now. You just make a little statement, but in this instance here, totally fed up. Totally fed up. They rebuke, you know, mother and father. Better we didn't have a son, have a murk, a fool like this boy, illiterate. What people go think about me? What they thinking about me? That he's studying. He's studying what they're thinking about he's studying his son. You understand? What they go think about me? I'm a pandit, a great Brahman, performing sacrifice. People starting to already talk about my son is a murk, he's a fool. The word is going around that Devdutt has a son as a fool. So imagine you have you know, we have to call no names and things, but imagine you have somebody who high in society, use that term, high in society, and a son like that. What the first thing we say, watch he playing big thing, watch how you on Sunday. Huh? He playing big thing, and watch how you on Sunday. So he concerned about what society thinking. And then this boy, they said, he realized for himself that, you know, that he was, you know, not wanted. And what happened? He waited for when the night came. And when the night came, what he did? He ran away from home. And he went to the bank of the Ganga. And there, he found a spot and he sat there. He began to cry. Pain. Began to cry. You know, my mother, my father, they abused me. They rebuked me. But I say and in his mind, he can't really understand exactly what it is for, you know, and analyze. You know, somebody who doesn't know, ignorance, are just saying. We just use the term ignorance. Somebody not doing something in the correct way. Think they know that they're doing the correct way? It's because they're ignorant. They do not know. They don't have the knowledge. You understand? They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the know-how. So it's not their fault. It's just that they do not know. But in his mind, he knows that his parents rebuke him. So he ran away from home. And what he did, he, sat on the bank of that Ganga. So just the final part of the Katha is coming here now, but before we do so, let's, for a few minutes, bring the talk as we glorify the Divine Mother. Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma,
Jai Ma, Jai Ma,
Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma,
Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma,
Oh Jai Jai Ma, Jai Ma, Jai Ma.